Have you been alive the past week in K-pop world? Oh my God, psychers! Oh my God, this entire video is about to be about Yechan. Okay, that's who the title is about. The entire video is going to be Yechan. It's uncut, unedited. It's going to be me showing you why these raps are so dang cool. I could make entire videos on their own about Minjae and Sumin's raps. And oh my God, Sumin and Minjae's delivery and Red's. Anyway. This entire video is about Yechan. I'm going to go over why these raps are so cool, why Yechan's such a good rapper, why he's literally the future face of K-pop rapping, because he literally is. And yeah, if this video is too long, it's because I'm literally going to dive into every single thing. And if you just want the quick hits, bam, 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 I have shorts. But if you do want me to make a video on Sumin or Minjae, which I definitely could do, because they had some really cool raps too on this new album from Xikers, give the video a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to do it. Just let me know you want it, and I can make it happen. So if you're a Xikers fan, hit up the shorts that I'm going to make on these. Anyway, let's dive into this. Let's get why you're here is for these raps. Now, I'm going to be going over the raps in this format like this. This is a flowchart. This is the rhythm of the rap mapped out on a music sheet. Now, if you can't read music, it's okay. I'm going to guide you through it in like the easiest way I can to help you understand what's going on. And if you can't read music, you could just appreciate how difficult some of this stuff is to do out of your mouth. This isn't something like doing it on an instrument, if you play an instrument long enough, like it's another to put words behind it, because anyway, let me explain what this is. If you've never seen this before, this is a flow sheet. It's the rhythm of his rap, which is the flow mapped out. The bottom right here, this is, hopefully that's not too loud, this is the flow, right? All those tick, 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 those are the actual syllables coming out of his mouth. This part is the cadence. So I just want to fill anyone in who might be new here. That's what you're looking at right here, is the cadence, the parts he's emphasizing for that, the feel of it, right? Ooh, right? And then the bottom right here with the chick, chick, chick for a hi-hat, that is the actual rhythm of the flow. Now, if you want to hear all of these, I do have them uploaded on my second channel. You can find it, not CarKpop, right here. I only have We Don't Stop up right now. I'll upload others as videos released that I can make like a fun video to watch out of them. But you can see the whole flow lined up with him in the music video, and you can see it visualized. Anyway, if that's interesting to you, I'll try to pin it if I remember. Let's dive into this and why this is so freaking cool. So, what is he doing here? This is basically two flows, as I kind of typed out in the chart for when I made this. It's a displaced feel and an over the bar diddle. Now, let's talk about the first flow first, because there's one flow change, there's two different flows, right? So what he's doing here in the first part is he's displacing the feel, right? So what he's doing is he's making the entire verse feel slightly ahead of where it's supposed to be. Because all of these cadences are never on beat one, right? When you're doing music, if you're not into music, right, you don't know all the technicalities behind it, typically one is where you come back to. One is like your home base. It helps keep you on track. He never uses it for the feel. The feel is never on one. You're never hitting your head on one. It is always on the and of one, or the E of one, or the and of one. The cadence is literally displaced as well as the flow here, because this first bar starts on the E of the 4 of the bar before it. The second bar starts on the of the 4 of the bar before. This is the start of bar 2. This is the start of bar 1. It's like chaotic goodness. Like, it's organized chaos, and that's so cool, but it's so difficult to get right, because it can also just sound like a jumbled mess if you don't do it right. But the thing is, it does it because Yechan did it well, and it works so well. So that's what he's doing in this first part here. He's displacing where you're feeling this, and it's actually all slightly ahead. He's kind of rushing it a bit. If you want to use more layman's terms, you could call this like rushing the thing, but in a more practical sense, rather than just the feel being rushed, like the entire actual flow is being rushed too. Then we dive into bar number 3, my apologies, where we get into this over the bar diddle, which I wrote up here. What he's doing is a diddle. It's like a did. The thing with that though, 90% of the time when a rapper uses a diddle, they always come back on 4. Because if you don't, you will end up over the bar. And it's really hard to keep track where you are. If you do that, it makes you go out of time, right? So if I have a beat 1, 2, 3, 4, and I did over top of this, ready? Where's 1? Could you figure out where 1 was after, I kept going with that? It loses its spot. You can't find it if you're just like listening without any other help from the outside, right? It's hard to keep track. Most rappers just go right? They kind of space out that last diddle to bring it back to 1. Nope, he goes over the bar, and it's not the most uncommon thing. You see a bunch of great rappers do this. Changbin's done this with like Ta. You've seen Yoongi do this. You've seen a lot of really cool freaking rappers do this, and Zico, obviously, Bobby, Minnow. They've all done this, right? And that's the point. Yechan's doing something that the great rappers do, and I'm all for it, because in bar 4, after he does these diddles, it goes back into 16ths, where he catches up after going over the bar right here. He catches back up, and then goes into a dotted 8th cadence feel, where it's like what some people would call a 3/4 polyrhythm feel for the 3/4 of the last bar. If you ever heard 3/4 polyrhythm before, it's just the feel is 3 times in 4 beats, and so it's like for every 4 beats you're getting 3 hits, if that makes sense. So it's like kind of putting a triplet in a straight feel. It's weird. He's doing a dotted 8 thing. It feels like he's speeding up that cadence, and that's what he's doing here. We Don't Stop It. This is the best rap on the album, in my opinion, for in terms of objectivity, technicalities. Barring there's some hidden thing in Minjae and Sumin that they did that I just don't know about yet. But from what I've seen so far, this is the best rap on the album. Let's dive into the other ones before I go on too long about just this one. I promise the other ones aren't quite as technically intricate as this. But wow, We Don't Stop It. And he put this on the title track too. His first rap had quintuplets. His second title track rap had insane voice inflections. And his third one now had really cool flow displacements and feels. This is so cool. Let's go into xikers Every Flavor Jelly. Now this one is a bit different because this one is based in triplets. But the cool thing here that I want to talk about is, if you look at a lot of other rappers who do triplets, even some of the great ones, right? Because I could point out, like, Chaeyoung of Twice has done triplets, right? And like Icon, for example, or was it Icon? It might have just been the new song. I forgot what the title track was. Chaeyoung's done just triplets before, right? But you can even look at some of the great rappers, right? You have Soyeon, who what was it? Psycho. Granted, it was a lot faster. Right? That was like Soyeon and Psycho. And then you have like, a bunch of other mainstream rappers who just do triplets. And that's nothing wrong with that. But it's not good enough for Yechan because he's insane. The boy is insane. What we have here, this is a really fast BPM, 156, right? Much faster than the average song. Typically 150 is like that mark where it's like a fast-paced song. So this is even farther than that. And what he's doing here is he starts off with a 6/8 feel triplet where he's going, so he's accenting, he's using that cadence on every other syllable. So it's a triplet, but instead of that typical triplet feel of what he's doing is so it sounds like fast-paced 8th notes that are faster than the BPM. That's what it feels like. 6/8 feeling triplets. It sounds like he's doing 8th notes in 6/8. If that makes sense. Excuse me real quick. I have a little cough, I'm sorry. But then, so he goes from that into normal triplets. So you're like, okay, so it's just going to be a triplety verse. Not good enough for Yechan. What he does is on this bar 3 right here, when you think, oh, you figured it out, okay, so he's still continuing the triplets. What he does on this beat too, he slows down the triplet ever so slightly, right? Because this beat right, this rhythm right here is slightly elongated compared to a triplet. If I put a triplet right here, a normal triplet, look how it mashes up. It's ever so slightly longer. To bring him back to this 8th note here, and then back into the triplets. He does that to make it feel like it's slowing down. And then he picks it back up, back into this triplet run. Let me undo what I just did. And so that's really fun, impressive, cool by itself, right? Then he goes back into the triplet run into measure 3, into measure 4, puts a little yeah, which is probably, in my opinion, my favorite part. It's not technically impressive or anything. It's just always really fun to have a rapper kind of like mesh that syllables like that. For me personally, as a listener, I enjoy that. But then he still spices up the triplet because he just wanted to just be a basic triplet run. Puts a little yeah, it is 2 syllables, so I have it marked out as 2 here. And then the amount of times people go, oh my god, I love triplets, and then do this. I love triplets. Da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. 3 beats in a bar, in a beat, right? Or 3 hits in a beat. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. These aren't triplets. This is a completely different rhythm that people get confused all the time. And Yechan's just like, ha. Most people can't even figure out the difference between this and triplets. Let me just throw them in to confuse the frick out of every single person who is watching or listening to this, thinking, okay, triplets. And it's like, do you even notice when it changes? That's what he's doing. And it's like, it's not the most unheard of thing. I'm sure it's happened a bunch in K-pop, but Yechan doing this again, it's only been a year since he came out, not even yet. And I love that idea that he put into this. Going into eighth notes, which is a very, eighth notes as the base of a rap is very bland, but if you use them to spice it up like this, I'm always for them, because he then goes into an offbeat quarter note right here, which is a really weird feel when he spaces this out. Finally, he puts some space into this rap right there, and then just dives back into that triplet, but instead of doing triplet runs, he goes triplet eighths, triplet eighths. I think it's pretty cool. It's not like this rap isn't the most, best rap in K-pop ever, oh my god, but it still shows how good of a rapper he is. At least that's what I'm trying to present. Now if we go into the third one I want to look at, which is supercalifragilistic. Yeah, we're not looking at Red Sun. Red Sun's all that delivery. Red Sun is all delivery. I can make a whole video on Red Sun though. I love that song. But we're going to talk about supercalifragilistic as the third rap right here, because this one is more fast-paced. It's a slower BPM and it's more fast-paced from see, I just said Changmin. I'm talking about Yechan. Holy shit. I need a woo. Yechan. See how happy I get about Changmin? I'm getting that same excitement from Yechan. What he does is he skips the downbeat. Remember what we talked about when we don't stop? He does that here as well. He skips the downbeat for the first 3 beats during this flow. This is the first flow right here. And then he changes it up here just to spice it up, and he finishes it off with this. There's a small transition in flow number 2. It's like a transitionary flow. And then this is flow number 3. It's much more linear. It's 3 separate flows, or 2 flows with one measure long flow change that you could also identify as a flow if you want. But the first flow is the fast-paced section. It's the 16th notes that start with 8th notes into a quarter note into 8th notes feel. And that's what the feeling is. However, on that third bar, he spices it up. That third bar, instead of just continuing that same flow, he doesn't want it to be repetitive, so he starts it on the E right here. He starts it slightly earlier than you expect, right? So if I play from the beginning, ready? If we expect where it starts, right? Okay, start. You hear how that came in early? It comes in slightly early, which catches you off guard, and then he spaces it out with these dotted 16ths to put some emphasis on different syllables instead of just going back to the 8th note. So it's like this little spice bar. I'm not sure. 1 second. My apologies again for the coughing, but it's such a wild flow pattern to put these double dotted 16ths. And the coolest part about this bar, between you and me, this bar right here is on beat 2. It starts on beat 2, right? This starts on the of 3. It's not even, this doesn't even line up the same time. Like that's like oh my god, that's the coolest part, that it's not like it's a I just messed that up. Please excuse me, but that's how hard it is. It doesn't line up perfectly on the beat 2 and then beat 3, or beat 2 and then beat 4. It's beat 2 and the of 3. He starts it slightly early, which is kind of, you know, in like a little post shadowing of how he started this bar slightly early. Anyway, move on to this little transition. It slows it down a little bit. It's kind of weird that this is so far spaced out, but this is beat 1, and it's just dotted 8th note feel with some slight diddles in there, and it's just a dotted 8th note feel. But it feels really weird coming from this 16th. You know how fast paced that sounds? And then you throw in these dots. It gets that energy. Boop, 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 boop. Such good placement of that, and it's a nice transition to the slower flow that he finishes it off with, because he goes the yeah into this like triplety feel. It's like 8th notes, and then instead of doing triplets, he goes into but he still finishes it with a broken triplet here. I don't know. I'm so stoked about this. I'm so happy. Hey, if you're still watching at this point, guys, I appreciate you so much for sticking here. Let me know your favorite rap from Yechan on this new album. If you're still watching and you're a xikers fan, you want to see me this about Sumin and Minjae as well, please subscribe. We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers, and leave a comment letting me know. And I'm more than happy to make this for Sumin and Minjae. I'm very, you know, Yechan is like that. This is like, you know, this hidden gem in K-pop. I want everyone to like recognize, you know, because he's dude's cracked. Anyways, guys, if you didn't know, I actually have a Patreon, and it's not right there. And if you would like to go support me on Patreon, it's mainly for supporting me. I do upload my reactions, like my first reaction to all these Psyker songs I posted on there. And then if you're a high enough tier, you can request stuff as well. But if you enjoy what I do, please check out Patreon. If you don't have the means to do so, feel free as well to check out Discord. It's completely free, and then we'd love to have you as part of the community. We have a lot of Psykers lovers in there, and we'd love for you to be one of them. But yeah, let me shout out all these amazing people that let me do what I'm able to do on a consistent basis like this. So shout outs to Arston, Laura Fernandez. Let me give myself a little, since their names aren't on the screen, I'm gonna. Arston, Laura Fernandez, Griffin Chiavo, Miyu's Ribbons, Sayway, Sophie, Wookbook, Austin, Blaha, Caitlin Gervin, Dead Boy, Aerold, Farhan, Fleur, Hannah, Just a Penguin, Multi26, Nova Lights, Rai Rai, Sonia, Triple, Valtini, Vanion, and Z, as well as everybody on the VODs here as well. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, let me know if you guys want more Psykers shorts coming soon. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.